I'm Kerry and welcome to my channel, Flourish and Fizz. So, as promised in my last video, and apologies anyone who watched my last video, it was my first upload to YouTube. I hadn't realised just how long it would take me to edit and really upload a lesson learned, and also the sound wasn't the best. Apologies for my huskiness. I had a bit of a head cold, and every now and then I seem to have a little bit of a scratchy throat. So this is part of a set of videos, more of a chatty one, sit down with me, and I'm currently in my living room, which is a little bit different and very 70s inspired. Just looking at my dress, maybe I clash a bit with the wallpaper, but hey, we're all friends here, we're all good with that. So grab a cuppa, whatever that might be, tea, coffee, or even a hot chocolate, because it's certainly very, very cold today. And let's just talk about menopause. So I promised in my last video that I would share with you my journey. And my journey started very early on with menopause. And I'm still on that journey. It's been 9 years. I'm 49 now, big 50 next year. And I am still on this journey. And I just thought it'd be really nice just to share some of the really unusual things that actually come with menopause and my own story. So, where do I start? I started menopause at around the age of 40. When I say menopause, perimenopause, as we know there's 2 stages. But with my perimenopause journey, I started getting really, really hot sweats, hot flushes, particularly at night. Much to my husband's disgust, I always had to have the window open, and I would just like to say 9 years on, I still have the window open every single night, and that's his side of the bed. But some of the subtle changes that started happening, like I said, with hot flushes, was my skin changes. So I was really, really lucky as a teenager. I didn't have the outbreak of acne or anything like that. And then suddenly, overnight, my skin was so bad. Sore, red, and spots galore. And when you reach your 40s, you think you've overcome all of that. And if you haven't had spots up to then, you're not going to. And it really does knock your confidence. You know, I could go out before without any makeup, maybe a bit of mascara. Hey, I've never really gone out of the house without any makeup, but it used to be quite a light makeup. And then I started finding that, you know, every day, just for my confidence, that I would put some foundation, that it was rather bumpy skin. You know, I went from having nice smooth skin to bumpy skin, and that really, really did affect me. And it's something that I don't think it's always discussed. We always mention about the hot flushes, the brain fog, all those different bits and pieces that actually come with menopause. But for me, it was the skin. And, you know, went back and forth to the doctors, and there was other symptoms. You know, the brain fog certainly very apparent with me. You know, the amount of times I would go upstairs 5-6 times for the same thing, go up there, do something else, come back down. And my children were young at the time, and they were like, "Oh, Mum, you've forgotten again." And you think you're actually going a little bit crazy. So, you know, I went to the doctor, blood tests, everything, and no, your hormone levels are all okay. You know, and I did get referred to a dermatologist, and they did give me some really fantastic cream at the time. But it was quite a harsh cream. It was a steroid cream. And then, you know, I would go back to the doctors again, and it would be another new symptom, and then another new symptom. And every single time I have the blood test, and they say, oh no, there's nothing wrong with you. And sometimes I feel that they think it's in your head, and I don't think all GPs are sympathetic or necessarily understanding. Well, they certainly weren't 9 years ago when I was starting on this journey. And, you know, I kept going back, and I thought slowly but surely I was going crazy, that maybe there wasn't anything wrong with me and it was slightly in my head. But as we all know, things have changed. So the reason I'm talking to you about my journey is I am a menopause ambassador in the workplace. And for me, that's really important. It's about having that voice, looking at what adjustments can be put in place for women when they are, going through this. Like I said, every time I went back to the doctors, every 4 to 8 weeks, there'd be a new symptom, and then I stopped going, but I would record everything. So that's the one key thing that I would say to you. Keep a diary, keep a symptoms checker. There is a symptoms checker that you can actually download on my website, which I'll put the link below. And it's free. It's just a plain one. You can put your own symptoms on there, because menopause at the moment, there's loads. There's, the symptoms keep changing, and more get added. And one thing I would say, and I spoke to someone in the workplace a couple of days ago who said that they had been to the doctors, had the blood test. Just keep recording it, and the blood test will only ever be a snapshot in time. And as we all know, GPs will do the blood test first thing in the morning. So if your hormone levels are completely fine first thing in the morning, then everything will come back fine with your blood test. But it could be that you're affected later on in the day, and that's when your hormone levels start changing. And because your hormone levels are up and down is why, sometimes it really isn't, a good way of testing whether you're going through perimenopause. So it was 4 long years for me until finally, because I was close to 45, they started going by my symptoms, and I was diagnosed with perimenopause. And I have to say that for about 7 years, from the age of 14 right up to 47, 48, I lost myself. I would make any excuse I could not to go out. I became quite insular. I was quite happy in my little family unit, and I was always a social butterfly before, but it really did knock me, from my confidence, with my acne on my face, and just generally feeling a little bit, my hair at the front started thinning, and I've always had really, really thick hair. And, one of the funny things I don't really tell you about is all the other extra hair. You might start thinning or on top, but it's all the extra hair that suddenly comes with it. Nose hair. I mean, what is that all about? It's not, you're thinning on top, but hey, your nose hair is growing so much faster. Or you might find that your facial hair, I've always been quite lucky that my facial hair is very, very light. But I've, certainly noticed all around here that, I do have to use those blades now just to take off the fine layer of hair. And, it does have a negative impact on you at times, especially if it's you've always taken care of yourself, you've always wanted to look your best, and suddenly, for no fault of your own, you don't feel your best. Your confidence is not, and it's a horrible, experience. Well, I found it a horrible experience, and simply because I wasn't heard for so long. So this is why I want to give a voice to women, and this is why I really set up my channel. And it's been a year in the making, and I am very passionate about, having, people talk more about menopause and how they're feeling, and actually, not be, not to feel guilty, especially with partners, if you have a partner, and those little snide comments that I know that, my husband had previously had, oh, you're in one again. And you can't control, sometimes you just can't control that. So, there was lots and lots of things going on, but like I said, I really didn't have anyone to talk to necessarily about menopause, because out of my friend group, I was the first one to go through it, and my mum, she breathes through menopause, and all she had was the hot flushes at night, nothing else. So, it's really hard when you're trying to explain everything you're going through, but the people you're explaining to don't necessarily understand what you're going through. And I still have friends now that, are going through menopause, but, have a lot less symptoms than I have. And lucky them. And, it was inevitable. I think that I was going to start my menopause journey early, because I started my periods at the age of 10. So, all of those kind of things get factored in, and I just hope my daughters don't have half the amount of symptoms that I have. So it is getting better, and what I want to say to all the women out there that are currently going through it, talk to someone. Even if this channel resonates with you, drop a comment in the comments, say about your symptoms. Let's grow this a community on this channel of like-minded women that, are, probably fiercely independent as well. And, you feel sometimes your independence has gone, but what I don't want menopause to be seen so much as a negative. And I think if I had all the tools in place of when I started going through this, I think I would have looked upon this as a much more positive journey. And there's loads of things that you can do to help with your menopause journey. Again, in the comments I will link my website. I have a blog. I'm just trying to upload all my thoughts and ideas onto that blog. It's not just about menopause. For me, I call it the new season of our life, because it is a new season. We're having to adapt. We're shedding our old selves, and we have a new reality with menopause. And I want us to celebrate that, because, hey, we're strong women, and the amount of things that we go through, if you've been married, or you've got a long-term partner, it's not just you navigating this, you're having to navigate your whole family through it as well. So what I want to say is, you're not on your own, and there's plenty of self-help books out there. So one for me would have been Menopause by Davina McCall. She's also got her own channel, and she talks a lot about how she felt, and how she felt that she was going a little bit crazy. And hey, we're in it together. I know, I've been there. And although my hormones are regulating, and I have done this naturally, I did try HRT. It just didn't suit me, so I have been trying to find all the natural ways of actually going through the changes. And let's celebrate this
part of our lives. Let's claim ourselves back and let's just celebrate the new season of our lives. So please, if this really does resonate with you, please subscribe. I am a new channel. I'm finding it hard for likes and comments and subscribers. I will upload every Thursday, and it will be a sit down with me chat. On a Sunday it will be more of a vlog, and then throughout the week will just be shorts. It can be anything from recipes to little hints and tips, just for life. And if you haven't done so already, and again I'm going to apologise, but go back to my first video, which explains what Flourish and Fizz is all about and why I've set this up. And let's carry on together, let's flourish together, and then let's keep fizzing. Thank you, and until next time, take care.